Greetings viewers, Eric the Car Guy here, also known as ETCG1 on this channel because I'm wearing the hat. And here on ETCG1 we talk about stuff, we don't do repair videos, so if you're looking for those, head down in the description, click the link for the Eric the Car Guy channel and go watch all the repair videos you like. Outside of that, if you wish to stick around and join in on the conversation, welcome. Today's topic, vehicles that sit. Yes, not long ago, it was last November or so, I bought my 1993 Acura Vigor, which sits behind me. And this is most certainly a vehicle that suffered from sitting. And the reason I bring this up today is because you might have the perception that a car that gets driven miles and miles and miles, gets the crap beat out of it, is going to be in worse shape than a car that just gets parked someplace for years and years. Well, I'm here to tell you that just the opposite is true in my experience. Vehicles that sit suffer in so many ways, in every single way. Things like dry rotted tires, rust. In this case, it was parked underneath a tree and the clear coat got all messed up and all the paint is pretty much gone. There was a lot of rust, probably rust that would not have been as bad if the vehicle was getting driven and maintained. The seats, they got all yucky, but that was probably from wear and use, but I don't think the fact that it sat and was not being used for a while helped it any. The oil, the engine compartment gets full of cobwebs, or just the vehicle itself gets invaded by other entities, not just insects and spiders, but also rodents. They can be the worst, honestly. Rodent infestations in vehicles can cause all kinds of problems, and I've seen it over and over again, particularly if you have pets or if you live in rural areas. And one of the things that rodents seem to like to do is they like to collect pet food and put it in different areas inside your vehicle. Not to mention they like to make a nest out of all the insulation that's up inside there as well. And they have a tendency to chew apart wires. Oh, and not to mention the feces. Yes, the feces. They like to go around and crap just about everywhere. And that's unpleasant. Another thing about vehicles that sit is, well, the gas starts to go bad. It goes sour and it's not really good gasoline anymore. The oil also, and not just the engine, but the transmission and every place else. The brake fluid absorbs moisture. The brake system has a tendency to suffer. The list goes on and on. The vehicle that sits is probably handicapped more than the vehicle, like I say, that gets driven every day and possibly suffers some abuse as a result. In some ways, I'd almost rather have that vehicle. Now, I kind of bring this up because on the forum it was brought up by somebody not long ago. I can't remember who it was, but they had some vehicle, like a van or something, that had been sitting for a long period of time, and they were starting it up for the first time. They started it up and now they've got an engine noise. A good way to avoid that is to disable the ignition system, or better yet, the fuel system, and crank the engine over until the oil has moved up inside the engine. Probably not a bad idea to change the oil either. I did that in this car almost as soon as not as soon as I got it, because actually I know that it sat for at least a couple of years before I bought it. And then it sat here for about 6 or 7 months after I bought it, but that was inside. Here's the other thing, having it parked outside like this above the ground is worse than having it sitting inside of a garage or an enclosed structure. All things that come into play as far as the longevity of it. In flat spots on tires, a good way to store a vehicle is to actually jack it up off the ground so that the wheels aren't making contact with the ground. The suspension is uncompressed at that point, and that could cause some issues, maybe, but it's actually better. And like I said, for the tires, if you could lift it up and then rest it down on the suspension so it's sitting at rest on the suspension, that might be the ideal. Maybe put something underneath the control arms to keep the suspension compressed while it's in storage. That might also help, but as I said, those things that aren't getting driven are going to suffer. So if you have a vehicle that you haven't driven in some time, I would strongly recommend that you at least start it up, drive it around, do something with it from time to time, because other than that, everything suffers. Like I said, all the rubber parts, dry rot. Dry rot's huge. All the rubber hoses, everything, they all start to degrade over time. For whatever reason, using them, sending them through those heat cycles and driving it over bumps and just driving it along and getting those fluids circulated through everything seems to keep them going. That's where they're happy. They don't like a static state. They go back to the earth if they get into a static state. But that's the topic I wanted to bring up today. I threw in a few tips there. I know we weren't going to talk about repair information, but hey, this might be useful to you. Your ETCG1 can offer some useful advice, I suppose. I hope it wasn't too obtrusive. But it's such a nice day, and I wanted to see if I could take advantage of it and shoot a video out here with my new favorite car. I'm really digging this car. I don't know what it is about it, but it's got a quality, and it's certainly got me. But anyway, that concludes this discussion in this video. If you wish to continue the discussion in the comments, you're welcome to do so. There'll also be a link in the description to a forum discussion about this video if you wish to carry on the conversation over there. I spend most of my time over there, by the way. And hey, if you have automotive issues, perhaps caused by a vehicle that sat for too long, you can head over to ericthecarguy.com. There's a welcome video to tell you about all of our wonderful features to help you with those automotive issues, should you have them. If you wish to connect with me socially, I can be found on Google+, Facebook, and Twitter. Close each of my videos with be safe, have fun, and stay dirty. And what are your experiences with vehicles that sit? I'd love to hear about it. Catch you next time.